Hey everybody, welcome to Sunday Slowdown at J&J Acres. We are a small family homestead in east central Mississippi, and we like to share with you everything that we do on our property, whether that's growing something, building something, fixing something, or just having fun with 5 kids, or pulling our hair out with 5 kids, whatever the case might be. That changes every 5 minutes or so. It is balding just a little bit, looking a little thin up there. But we like to have fun, and the whole purpose of this show is to slow things down, get away from the hype and excitement of the videos that come out all the time, and just sit back and talk to you as if you were here in person, sitting around the fireplace, shooting the breeze, and just catching up on things. So uh, we hope that you guys enjoy that format and pull up a chair and get comfortable. Now, we are doing something a little bit new today. You will notice if you watch the live video and not just the chat feed that the video is displaying the live chat. So we have told you in the 28 episodes previous to this to make sure that you click the thumbs up button, especially because the chat goes away. Well, we still want you to hit that thumbs up button because it means a lot to us and it shows people that you liked the live video. But now your chat will live in perpetuity. As long as this video exists, your chat is there as well. So we hope that this will add some extra content into the video so that people that come back and watch these hour-long episodes in the future can see what was typed in the past and feel like they're being part of the show as well, even though they couldn't be here live. So enjoy that. I will also mention that it is a benefit for anybody who wants to make use of that super chat button. It gives you a little option of having your channel highlighted there live on our video as well. So it sticks around forever. Alright, so that's that. Please remember that if you have questions, to type them in all capital letters. That makes sure that Jennifer notices your question is specifically for us and not just to someone else in the group. And then she will know when it is appropriate to interrupt me so that we can answer your question. Sometimes if your question is on the topic I'm trying to cover right that minute, then she'll interrupt me and we'll get that covered. Otherwise, do not fret. We will make sure your question gets answered at the end of the show.
I keep a accurate record of every one of the questions that I catch and send them over to him on chat. So it's there. It'll get answered. As long as it was in caps, so I caught it.
So we've already got 2 questions I see, so those are getting stacked up already. But that's how we make sure that I don't forget things, because I'm pretty good at that. Alright. I think that catches us up on the normal things that need to be spoken about. Usually in our show, first off I want to say we took last week off. And I appreciate your patience and understanding with that. Our oldest daughter, Tracy, turned 12. Mm-hmm. And a family that is friends of our family, mm-hmm. That sounded weird the way I said it, but they also have 5 children. And the ages of their children are extremely similar to our children.
Yep.
So because of that, when we get together, it's almost like we don't have children. We can hang out with the grown-ups, and the children all entertain themselves.
It's magic.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Especially when the weather's nice.
So their oldest daughter turned 11, right about, within the same week.
I'll be right back, sorry.
The same week that Tracy turned 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, her birthday's a month before, but they hadn't celebrated it because of family issues.
Oh, okay. So her birthday's a month before, but they hadn't celebrated it. Well, Tracy had asked us if we could do a sleepover. And, boy, with 5 kids, I'm just not all about adding more kids into the mix, but we ended up agreeing to that. And everybody, you've got your own little family cliques, and you've got your friends from work, and then you got your friends maybe here online, and friends at church or something like that. And sometimes your friends don't know your friends, and that was kind of what happened in this case. Our friends that live just a mile and a half down the road, who have frequently watched our animals when we were out of town and things like that, had never met this other family that we hang out with, and the nearby neighbors have a couple daughters, and so all the daughters and mothers converged on the property. Brandon and Arthur went over to the 5 children family that matches ours really well. Went to their house for the night, and oh man, suffice to say, I was outnumbered. And Jennifer, because we've never had this combination of children in the house before, wasn't too comfortable with the idea of the adults falling asleep and the older girls staying awake all night on their own, not knowing what they might get into. So what it ended up being is Jennifer was up till 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning.
Something like that before someone else woke up and I fell asleep.
Yeah. So that was kind of crazy. That was a long night. So, and the girls, I don't know, it was just crazy. And then we were still busy. We still did stuff around the property that day, and man, we were just dragging tail. And probably about 2 o'clock or so, I said, I'm just gonna call it. I said, I don't want to sit there in front of the camera and yawn all night. And so we turned around and decided that we would put it out there on Facebook. I emailed Big Family Homestead that kind of coordinates everything for the Homestead Network. Specifically spoke to Tommy at Alderman Farms and asked him to make an announcement, which he did, so thank you, Tommy, that we were not going to be live last week. But all that said, it feels like we haven't been live for a month.
It does.
Just missing 1 week of talking to you guys feels like you guys, like we hadn't talked to you for a month. So I'm really excited to be back here with you today and talk to you about everything that's been happening in the last 2 weeks, because that's the last time we talked. So we got a lot of videos to talk about and any questions that you guys want to bring up. So.
Well, Jared, I apologize for having to run out on you for a second there. My eyes were flaring up. As some of you may know, it is officially allergy season here in the South, and mine are horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it just comes like, I tell you, there was one time, I don't get allergies near like Jennifer does, but there was one time last summer, I was in the front yard trying to record a video, and I took in a big deep breath to starting the video, and there was just something in the air when I took that deep breath, and I mean, holy cow, I felt my throat close up, felt my face swell up, felt my eyes start to water, and I was like, holy cow, I'm gonna die. All I did was breathe. I mean, it was terrible. And she's like, yeah, that happens all the time. And I'm like, no. No. And
I'm sitting here going, yeah, during allergy season, this is like a daily thing for me if I forget my medication.
Yeah.
So
that's just crazy.
And because I'm on, it's called Grass Tech. It's a grass pollen, basically, that I have to take every single day. We were hoping that I wouldn't have to take any allergy medicine, but this morning I woke up and couldn't breathe. My face was just, and I think my allergy medication's starting to wear off, so.
And you've been around a bit of pollen today.
Quite a bit.
Alright, I'm trying to get something to load here, but I don't know if it's because of doing the live streaming or what. I know we kicked all the kids off the internet, but something about this just doesn't want to behave, so. Let's see.
What can you do to help allergies? Oh, well, it depends on what it is you're allergic to. Personally, we tried the bee, the honey, but I'm not allergic to anything that the bees are actually collecting. So that's kind of counterintuitive. It doesn't work. I have to take grass tech for probably the next 9 months this year, and probably for at least the next 3 to 6 years. And the doctor didn't tell me when I'd notice a difference because everyone is different. I personally end up having to take over-the-counter medications because I haven't found anything that really helps my allergies.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of the big kick. You constantly hear people make a suggestion about having raw local honey or having even bee pollen, but that's only helpful
if you're allergic
when
to
you're
what the
allergic
bees are collecting.
If you're allergic to what they're collecting. Her allergies are not tree allergies; they're grass allergies. And the bees, our honeybees at least, aren't collecting
grass.
Yeah, aren't collecting the pollen from the grass or the nectar from the grass. So
I don't think they generally do, though.
Yeah, you're going to see the bumblebees doing it, and yeah. I don't know. Are you going to try to do a beeline to a? All right, let me see. I'm gonna do the last thing you should ever do on YouTube, and that's try something new while we're live. But let's see if I can't bring this up because it would make my life a little easier if I can. Let me see. Whoops, that was wrong. See, I already clicked on the wrong thing. You just don't know it, except that I told you. Let's see here.
Now, one thing that I know, the reason why I have these allergies is because I grew up in Southern California. They generally don't have grass in Southern California. And having moved to the South where grass is, well, like weeds, I just haven't been able to breathe since. And it's not just my sinuses either. That's one thing that was mentioned in here is using a neti pot. It's my entire face that explodes. My eyes, my throat, my sinuses, my ears. I mean, just absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And it's like a split second. And I end up having to go inside, lock myself away, wash my face, wash my hands, sometimes jump in the shower to get it all off of me. And then I'm stuck inside until the medication kicks in. So
yeah.
It sucks.
Susan says here, it's like, welcome to my world, husband. Now look, I don't want to start a fight. This is like the whole joke about man colds. like we get a little bit of a sniffle and we're down like it's the worst case of the flu, and you all have to go through pregnancy. Now mind you, that's got to be the worst. I want nothing to do with that.
At the same time, though, sweetheart, the one symptom of your allergies that you did not get, that I get almost every time, are a new migraine attack.
Oh, that's true. I've had a couple bad headaches, but I've never had a migraine, or at least I don't think I have. All right, so what I want to do now is usually I would just start telling you about the background stories behind the different videos that came out. Told you something that maybe happened off camera, or some other little background story about it. But we have had a ton of videos come out, literally one a day, since we've seen you. So here's the list. If you're not in front of your viewing device, your computer, your phone, whatever it is, if you're not looking at it, come look at it really quick, because I'm going to go over these videos, and I would like for you to tell me which video from the last 2 weeks you liked the most. Now, I wonder, is there a way for us to do a poll? Does YouTube allow polling? Is there a way to do polling on this so I can... Here, let's bring the chat back up in front of everything so we can see what people are saying live. And I don't think, do you have any option there as a moderator to... No.
I mean, that's...
It'd be a lot easier if I could do a poll, but alright, well, skip that. YouTube, you need to add polling in for moderators so we can do a poll. But anyway, let's just go through the list. We'll do it the old-fashioned way.
How about this? Everyone raise your right hand.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Well, you're going to get a bunch of emoticons with hands risen. It's going to happen. Somebody's in there right now digging for a hand emoticon. All right, so look, let's see where we are. We have the video called Awesome Garden Cheats. I talked to you about how I was planting the side garden. We've got moved 13 tons of stone easily. Showed you us kind of re-graveling a portion of our driveway. Using the front end loader for the first time. That was Brandon using it for the first time as part of a project on the north side of our carport, which we will talk more about later in this episode. So y'all don't go far. Let me come over here and say don't go far. We are going to talk about that north side carport project and tell you what is being built. So we're going to tell you first live tonight. Alright, so let's get back over to this.
Freaky Geek, with the emoticons, you can tell the left from the right by which side the thumb is on.
Oh, tricky. Alright, then we had This Bug Trap Works. That is specifically talking about the bug known as a small hive beetle. It was how we are trapping small hive beetles in our beehives, and boy, it works out really well. Will these grow here? We were planting some cold hardy avocados in some pots, and I got some other information about how that's going. The fastest growing tree is a memorial planting we did for Grandma Lonnie. That is a Royal Empress tree we planted. Then we have Tracy, her garden with the seedlings. Her next video comes out tomorrow, so check that out. Buy plants from where? That is about where we found some awesome blueberry plants in a very unlikely place. At least it was unlikely to me. Our own home brew is where I showed you that our kombucha SCOBY growing was successful, and we started up our own tea, which we are now drinking, by the way. For the record is me talking about how you should not try to lift a 17-foot long, 2-foot wide white oak tree with a boom and then drive uphill. It will bring the front of your tractor off the ground. Did the bees swarm again is about how the bees were doing. Latest video about the bees. Mama Asks, Mama Gets was all about a tree planting, something that Jennifer wanted, so we went out and got it. And growing invasive weeds is the latest plant. That was about us planting some black locust trees, and I have yet to have a comment on that video for the last 5 seconds of that video.
What?
Nobody has watched the last 5 seconds of that video made a comment about it, and I was expecting there to be a lot of comments about the last 5 seconds of that video, but nobody has said a thing. So I'm not going to tell you what happened, because if you want to know, you're going to have to go darn well watch it. Okay, so, oh goodness, Suburban Hillbillies out there pasting the links. So if you haven't seen it, if one of those titles perked your interest, look at my moderators there just rocking it out and making sure you've got a link to get there. Alright, so those were the videos. Do you have any particular one that you liked the most or that meant the most to you? And that's fair game, because some people watch the channel and they're only interested in the beekeeping. That's what they're here for, is to see how we do with our bees. We have some folks that are here because of permaculture stuff, and they just want to see some of the gardening techniques and pick up something new. We've got some folks that are here just because I've got cute kids and they want to see whichever videos the kids are in. So you know, whatever it is, throw it out there. Yeah, look at that. Hey, y'all see that fancy little cyan colored box there with Blake Kirby's on it? Look at him. He threw us a little $5 super chat. Says his phone's about to die, so he has to scoot. You guys are doing great work. Keep it up. Check you later. Blake, thanks for the super chat, man. And thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. I know it doesn't really fit in with your normal routine, so I appreciate you swinging by and checking us out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Blake.
Love you, man. Love your family. Tell them we send our love, and we hope everybody's doing well and are healthy out there. All right.
All right, so we've got 3 votes for what Mama wants, Mama gets. We have 1 vote for the blueberry planting, 1 vote for the memorial tree. And that's fastest growing tree. Says it touched her heart.
Okay.
So that was the weeds, right? No. That was Mama Wants, right?
What, fastest growing?
Fastest growing tree. Memorial.
That was the memorial tree.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm going to start talking about what's currently got number one, and I realize there's a bit of a delay. If you want to get in your vote for something else, hey, we got time to talk more about more than just one video. But
Garden Sheets. Which one's Garden Sheets?
That was pretty much the oldest one on there. I don't know if you've got it up there.
I might not.
So let me tell you a bit about Mama Wants, Mama Gets. So, confession, I titled the video in a way that would get some attention. And I know that there's a lot of sayings out there like happy wife, happy life, and things like that. And generally, those are something that I would turn my nose up to. But Jennifer and I would like to think the majority of people have a kind of relationship where Jennifer is not, a 2-year-old wanting their binky. She asks for something. It's because she has a reason for it. She's not just trying to throw a temper tantrum or just wants to spend money or just wants to be pampered or just wants to just want. She's got a reason for it. And so we were noticing that the eastern redbuds were coming out this year. You see those really beautiful purple flowers going up and down the side of the road.
And I comment on them every year.
Yeah, every year. And she asked if we could have one. And I got to thinking about it, and I said, well, why do you want one? Well, I like how pretty they are. I'd like to have one up in the yard where I can actually see it, because she only leaves the house, on a good week, twice a week.
Yeah.
So she's usually on the property. She homeschools the kids. She leaves the house, sometimes to go to Taekwondo. You guys have kind of fallen away from that a little bit here.
My migraines have been falling on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and there's not much I can do.
She usually will go grocery shopping with me when I get off work on Friday and those kind of things. Again, all dependent on her health. And but she's homebound most of the time, not because she wants to be, because usually her migraines or general scheduling with children forces it. So she says, I'd like to have this tree so that I can actually have something pretty to look at, that I like to look at. And you've said the same thing that some people have commented on that video, which was it is such a vibrant color that comes out so early in the spring that it's that uplifting feeling you get of, oh, winter's over, hey, yeah.
There's my color.
Yeah, get color back into the world. You want all winter. Now, see, a lot of you might go all winter with seeing nothing but solid white or white with slushy brown mixed into it. We just see dead.
Yeah,
it's just dead.
It's all brown.
It's just brown, dead. To us, when we see white, it's real pretty. It's like a painting, and it's pure and clean and all those kind of things, and then it melts away in 4 hours, and we don't see it again for the rest of the year, maybe not for another 5 or 10 years. So usually all we get is brown, and it's boring. So
now the way wild red buds grow is that there's like several trunks shooting out of one base, but we're not going to let it do that. There have been a few trees that I've seen specifically manicured on people's property where it's just one trunk and it goes straight up, and then if it's got the space and the sunlight, it's got that perfect treetop, and that's how we're going to encourage this one to grow. We're going to let it grow as tall as it wants to, but we're going to encourage that big, full canopy.
We want it. We instead of looking like a large shrub, we want to encourage it to look like a small tree.
Yes.
So we're gonna landscape it to be that single trunk until it's about 6 feet tall, head height, and then let it branch out, canopy out. So in that video, a lot of people said they didn't know about some of the benefits of it. I mean, first off, it's a nice shade tree. I love having some place to just go lay down in the grass out there under a shady tree. Now, our fruit trees are slowly growing, so we'll see how that goes. But I know how big this will get. The fruit trees, we specifically got dwarf ones,
Yeah.
so we could pick them easier. But this sucker could get up to 30 feet tall, so it'd be really nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, at the base of all of these trees and these swales, we're going to be basically like a small food forest, right?
Yeah, we're going to do other plantings around them. And I know Suburban Hillbilly was talking about planting azaleas, and I left a comment over on the video itself as well. I've planted one azalea in my entire life, and it died.
It didn't live 3 months.
Yeah, so
we don't know why. It was in the perfect spot, too.
As far as I know, it was in a perfectly good spot. Not too wet, not too dry, not too sun, not too shade, not too anything. You know, healthy as it could possibly look coming from the nursery and all that kind of stuff. I planted it and it died. So I'm gonna have to build up my courage before I put money in azaleas again. But back to the Eastern Redbud itself. Yeah, of course the flowers are beautiful. So a lot of people wouldn't want to do this, but you can eat the flower buds and the flowers themselves. So those are edible, which you could just garnish in a salad or something again for that mood lifting. You're probably have to eat the whole tree to actually feel full, but you could add it to a salad for a little bit of a visual lifter kind of thing. And what else did we learn about that? There's something in the bark that's potentially medicinal. So if you were to prune out a branch, we're not saying grow a tree just to cut it down for medicinal, but if you were to prune off a branch, then you could take off some of the bark and get some of the medicinal properties out of it. Now, Jennifer and I are currently going through a wild medicinals course. So we're still learning on how we would actually use that, but hopefully we'll have those skills here shortly. And until then, we're really just taking note of things.
What would be about the average cost of planting trees? That all depends on what tree you want to plant.
Well, there's a lot of different things that go into that because, so Eastern Redbud it grows wild. I could have easily stopped on the side of the interstate, took a small clipping off of some green wood off the tree and tried to root it and grow my own tree and just let it start from scratch, so to speak, rather than be 3 or 4 years in advance by buying one from the nursery,
which would have been free.
Right, so that has the potential of being free. Maybe you spent $4 or $5 on some rooting hormone that would last you for thousands of trees and plants. But
maybe some potting soil if you didn't have.
Yeah, if your soil's not so great, like where we planted, we backfill with a lot of good potting soil. They call it potting soil, the place that we buy it from, but really it's just good soil with organic material mixed in. It's got a lot of composted wood chips and things like that already in it. Yeah. But usually when you hear potting soil, it's because somebody's added in a lot of vermiculite or perlite or something like that to it. It doesn't have any of that in it. It's just light and fluffy. I think, really, be honest with you, I think they just mix their actual compost and their wood chips or their mulch, and I think they let it sit for a season and then sell it as potting soil. I think. I don't know that, but.
And it is the redbud tree that we were talking about with the medicinal use.
Yeah, the Eastern Redbud tree. So anyway, that's kind of what that's for. But I wanted to emphasize that a part of that isn't, that whole idea that Mama asks, Mama gets. Because of our relationship, when Jennifer says, "Hey, I would like," I listen because I understand that she's not the kind of person who's going to ask just for the sake of asking. She has a thought-out reason for asking for something.
95% of the time.
Well, sometimes that reason is, hey, can I have I'm going to use some kind of silly example here,
but
can I buy this puzzle book? It's a $5 little puzzle book thing. And it's like, okay, why? I've used all the puzzles in my other puzzle book that I like, and I'd like a new one. Okay, there's a reason for it.
Or
It's
it's
just
been a
silly
while
puzzle
since I
book.
had one.
Yeah, and the other side of that is it's not like she has to ask permission, but I do the same thing. I go to her and say, hey, well, this is a much more expensive example, but uh, we were assembling some new beehives, and one of the things I needed to assemble didn't come pre-drilled. So I went and I got my corded drill, and I went to go drill, and something about the chuck was wrong. I don't even know how to explain it properly, so I'm not going to try to. And I looked up all this information about how I could replace the chuck. But from what I learned, I was going to have to break the chuck in order to get it off to replace it, which is apparently a very common thing to be done. But you'd have to have these very large channel grit pliers that I don't have, and so I have to buy this new tool just so I can break my existing tool, just so I can buy the part to replace my tool, to fix my tool. And I went and I told her all this, and if I'm not mistaken, you're the one who actually said, well, why don't you just buy a new one? Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm sure at that point you probably felt me leading you in that direction anyway. That's what my question was going to be. Yeah, we got a pretty good connection there. But anyway, I don't just go to the hardware store and buy new tools whether I had a good reason for it or not. We communicate about it because all of our money is household money.
Really, there was one time he didn't communicate to me about wanting to buy something, turned around, went and bought it, and took 3 days to tell me about it. It was a video game.
A video game?
It was Zelda.
Zelda?
I think so.
I don't even remember doing that. Oh well.
A week before your birthday, that I was going to get it.
Now that I remember. I was in big trouble for spending money a week before my birthday. I do remember that. Oh, I remember that.
Because it was on his birthday list and I just hadn't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to answer a question Dolphin Man asked because it was kind of relevant at the time. He says, would you say that rooting hormone is a must? I would say it's a must for certain varieties of plants.
But he adds it to everything.
I like to add it to everything because, I mean, it's $5 for this jar. Well, here it is. I actually have one right here. Here's my rooting hormone. I don't even remember where I bought it from. They sell a different brand at Lowe's. Distributed by...
No, it doesn't say.
I may have bought it on Amazon or something. Heck if I know.
No, the tag on top makes me think that it was from Planter Supply.
Yeah, it may have been our local. We have a local supply shop called Planter Supply, like a feed and seed kind of store. That would make a lot of sense. I bet you that's where it was from.
Because the tag on the top.
But anyway,
that or the co-op.
It's just this white powder inside, and that will treat hundreds and thousands of trees. It says right here, treats approximately 4,500 average cuttings for $5. Hi. Was I being loud? Okay, I'm sorry. I was yelling. I'm sorry.
It's funny because he'll sit here and lower my voice throughout the entire video, but the one time I try to lower his and he doesn't get it.
Yeah, sorry. Get so used to yelling at the camera. I don't know why. So anyway, for $5 for 4,500 applications, I would just buy the rooting hormone and use it liberally.
If you have willows in your area, you can make your own. I think grapevines will do the same.
Well, okay, so there's some plants like grapevines and crepe myrtles, willow itself, that just want to put out roots. They'll just root really well on their own. So, like it's a pretty common thing for people to say you can go take a cutting off of some green wood on a crepe myrtle. So we're talking about like first year wood, sometimes even second year wood, and just stick it down into some soil and it'll just instantly start making roots. Other plants you have to, if you put a little bit of rooting hormone on there, you get more of a chance of getting the roots to start growing before the wood starts rotting. So that's really what you're combating here. You're trying to get some roots out there to bring in nutrients to keep the plant alive before the wood starts to die out. I think in some plants it is a must. In other plants, I would say not so much. But you could see, like in that black locust planting, the invasive weeds video, I sprinkled rooting hormone on the roots. Probably has absolutely no necessity whatsoever. You're talking about a plant that's considered to be an invasive in many parts. You're talking about a plant that fixes its nitrogen itself, just like a pea plant. Probably has no need whatsoever to have rooting hormone. But this is a plant that I bought online from a place in Georgia. They shipped it to me bare root. Then I was planting those bare roots, and it seemed to me like if I could do anything to give that plant a boost, then why not do it? So I sprinkled some rooting hormone and try to wake those roots up and get them going. So
Did you drink all my tea?
it was so good.
I told you to stop drinking my tea.
I'm sorry. You want my water?
No.
I'm sorry. Can't help you. All right.
It's
So
empty again.
let's see. Have I missed anything
Not yet.
that was about this particular video or anything like that?
Not yet.
All right. What was the next video that got a bunch of votes for it?
Next video was the memorial tree.
Okay. So the memorial tree, we bought that. It's called a Royal Empress tree. I don't know how to pronounce the botanical name, or if I tried, I would make a fool of myself. But there are other varieties of it, so you can look into that. We bought that from a website called fastgrowingtrees.com. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. I'm sure you can get it other places too, but I mean, it was like a $20 or something like that.
$20 stick.
And it basically turned out to be a stick. So, Dolphin Man,
We got 3 of them.
This kind of goes back to what? No, 2.
2?
2 of those.
Oh, okay.
This kind of goes back to what you were asking. So if you were to just follow the directions that were in the packaging for those sticks, they came in a loose burlap bag with some, I don't know what the right word for it would be, almost like a peat moss kind of interior with some, more peat moss than soil kind of mixture.
Yeah.
And they wanted you to just stick that entire bag straight in the ground and let it grow. But I wasn't comfortable with putting the burlap sack in the ground.
You get root bound that way if the roots can't find a way out of the bag.
I was worried that bag wasn't going to decay quick enough, and so I decided to take it out, which is how I found out, because the mix inside just fell off of the stick. And found out that there were basically no roots there whatsoever. And so I decided, well, let's go ahead and put some rooting hormone on here. But as far as they were concerned, that plant was going to put out roots similar to what I was saying the crepe myrtles would do. You just put a stick in the ground, it's going to root. But I added on the rooting hormone as a safety measure.
Well, guess what? There's already buds on the leaf buds on the sticks.
We've got one of them is still just the leaf buds. You can see them starting to swell out, and the other one has leaf buds that are starting to open up. So that's pretty exciting. But that tree is supposed to be very fragrant. It's supposed to grow like 10 to 15 feet in a year. All sorts of pretty, really pretty conical, almost like if you were to picture a bunch of grapes, flip that over, and that's kind of how the petals grow on that, the flower clusters. So anyway, we hope it'll be a really awesome planting, and we put one there for her, and then another one on the other side of the yard, just in a good place where it had room to grow. We actually got rid of a hickory tree that I had been trying to save for 9 years now, and it
wasn't
doing good. So we finally just got rid of that and planted this in its place. So, we got any others with some votes? We're kind of coming up quick here on the hour.
Well, the blueberry planting got 2 votes, and the garden cheats got 2 votes. So
okay. Well, just to mention this really quick, so we still do go grocery shopping, and we went to a local store called a Winn-Dixie. If you live in the South, I'm sure you've heard of them. And as we walk through the produce section, this particular Winn-Dixie has a very large floral section. And the lady that runs the floral shop had set up a whole bunch of these fruit trees and bushes and vines and canes and just some awesome looking blueberries. She
Yes,
had
they
two
were.
varieties.
And they were already flowering.
Already flowering. Well, yeah. But there was Austin and Powder Blue, and I know Powder Blue does really well here. So I didn't take the time to even do the research. I said, well, if they're doing one, they're doing the other. It'll be okay, and we bought both. I've since went back and looked, and apparently they're not like the best pollinators for each other, but I think they'll still do okay, and they are flowering at the same time right now, so I think it'll be all right. But it was really a lesson for me to think outside of the box on where to find plants, because those blueberry plants looked a whole lot better than anything we've seen at any of our other local nurseries or even the big box garden centers. So um, something to learn there. And then the other one was Garden Cheats. If I'm trying to remember what all three of them actually were. I think one was I was cheating because I was planting some cat mint to try to keep the cat out of the garden.
Didn't work.
That has not worked. There is now an electric fence up keeping the cat out of that garden.
And it's lit.
That works.
Yes.
I should have took a picture of that. I should have had it. Sorry. I should have had a picture for you guys tonight. The second was that I was pre-soaking the seeds. Most of those seeds are hard-coated seeds, and so pre-soaking them helps to get them to come out early, especially if you didn't take time to do something like stratify them by putting them inside of the refrigerator for a season or something like that. And let's see, because of that, we've already got the Deep South Homestead garlic chives. Those are coming up. And also the cilantro is coming up, so that's working really well.
There's
for
only
those.
one thing that hasn't come up yet, and
Oh no, there's several things that haven't come up yet. The catmint hasn't come up. The parsley hasn't come up. The comfrey has not come up.
I was going to say that's the one you're mad about. We think the cat destroyed the seeds that we put down.
Yeah, the cat kept going in that one area at the end of the bed where the comfrey is and scratching everything up, and so I'm really worried that none of that's going to be any good anymore. But we'll see. Time will tell. And then the third cheat was how instead of just the thyme hasn't come up. Just instead of letting the thyme grow from seed, we also went and got some cuttings from the thyme and used the rooting hormone on those and planted those as a way to cheat and speed that area up. And all those cuttings are still alive, so that's pretty good news.
You want to run through questions?
Well, first I want to show some pictures.
All right.
So let me go through these pictures as quick as I can.
Keep those questions coming, and we will get to question and answer time.
The pictures are going to cover up the chat for just a minute because pictures are widescreen, so excuse that. But here is the first picture. Oh, dagnabbit, I did it again. I keep messing everything up over here. Alright, here's the first picture. This is notification from Kubota that we have paid off our tractor. So the tractor is 100% ours, and we are just tickled to death that we don't have to worry about that debt anymore. So thumbs up for paying off the tractor. This was taken just today. These are plum flowers. You'll notice the first link in the video description is for Methley Plum. That's what this is. This is a Methley Plum, and this was the memorial planting for Jennifer's father. So this is his plum tree. Jennifer and I both love plums, but Jennifer remembers them fondly from her childhood, and so this has got more flowers on it this year than we have ever seen. So we think this is going to be our, we're hoping, we certainly have our fingers crossed for this being our first season to have a plum crop.
Yes.
Yeah. And looky here, just while everybody else, well not everybody else, but while a whole bunch of folk are still trying to get out from under the snow, we're opening up our pool. We opened up the pool this weekend. No, not for swimming, just to clean it up, and get it ready so that maybe in mid-April the kids can start swimming in it.
Those jets right there actually help to heat it up as long as we turn it on while the temperature is above the temperature of the water.
Y'all might not believe it, but these little jets right here, they really do. Something about getting the water up into the warm air, it really warms up the pool. And conversely, in summertime, we'll run jets at night, and so it really cools down the pool. It's actually quite a fascinating little experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is cool.
Can anyone guess what this is?
Who can get in the comment section first? What is this? What is this picture? Do 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 do. Come on, I'm sure somebody knows. I'm gonna bring up the chat really quick because I want it to be on the record. Who knows what this picture is? What are you?
There you go. Silver Moon's got it. Rice bubbles, dog food.
I think Silver Moon probably has a leg up on everybody because Silver Moon might have worked with it before.
Rice Krispies. Didn't we say Rice Krispies?
Yeah, it does kind of look like that. Chicken grit. Silver Moon, come back and tell us whether or not you have worked with bee pollen before and why you knew that. The correct answer is bee pollen. Let me advance the slide here one more time and give you a real close-up look. So in case you weren't aware, pollen comes in all sorts of colors. Everything from almost snow white to bright blues and bright greens and dark kind of bluish grays like these. So we're not 100% sure what these brownish gray ones are. It could be elm, I noticed, matched up really well on the chart. You can go search for pollen chart, and there's a great wiki out there, and you can look it up and try to guess for yourself. But each different color is coming from a different plant. So
Silver Moon says she's never used it. You want to tell them where these came from?
Yeah. So we invested in a pollen catcher. So this is something you put on the beehive. There's another link in the video description for that. If you want to catch your own bee pollen, there's a couple different ways they come. And to be honest with you, I think in the future, maybe next season, we might invest in a different one because this one, it was really cool and it works really well.
Yeah.
But you have to put it on the bottom of the hive. So that means taking the hive bodies off the bottom board and then putting this device in and then putting the rest of the beehive back on top. There are other ones that sit at the entrance of the beehive, but they look so clumsy and clunky that I didn't trust those. So I got this other kind first, and now I understand why they even make entry ones. But basically, this is bee pollen from our beehive. We collected it this morning.
And it was only, the trap was only on the hive for 12 hours or 24 hours.
Yeah, about 24 hours, and that's about 1.2 ounces of bee pollen. So it's not very much. It was a neat little experiment to see if we could harvest bee pollen and how much and what kind of time frame. And I'm sure it varies widely during the time of year and things like that. But that's what that is bee pollen. All right, and it can be used. You can eat it raw. You can make different things with it, like an herbalist would. All sorts of stuff like that. So, there you go. All right, so here is the big secret on what we are doing on the north side of the carport. Can anybody tell us what that is? Surely, if we can guess bee pollen, somebody knows the answer as to what we are in the middle of constructing in that area. It's not done.
Well, technically the construction's done. It just needs to get filled at this point.
Yep, we need to cut this pipe down so a lid can go on, and then we need to fill it with the correct contents. So
first guess, 2 of them.
All right, who got it?
Tina G first, and Terry Abbott, second.
There you go. I brought the chat back up so everybody can know forever who it was that guessed that right. Yeah, that's a worm ban. We got this old bathtub from our next door neighbor, the same one you've seen in many videos that has those old trailers on his property. He said we could have this bathtub, and we are converting it over into a worm farm. So that should be a lot of fun. All right, and that's it. That's it for the pictures. All right, folks, if you have a question, get them in now. We got about 5 minutes left in the show, and I'm about to go through and start answering the questions we've already received. So if you want a chance for your question to be answered, now's the time to bring it in. So let me see here. Brendan wants to know, how are your bees? I apologize if Braden, I think is how you pronounce it. I apologize if that's wrong, Braden. The bees are doing outstanding. We have got so many frames full of brood in there that it is just ridiculous. So the negative side of that is I think they're so focused on getting pollen right now for the massive amounts of brood that they haven't really been making much honey. So we haven't been able to collect any honey this season, but that'll come. It'll come in the next month or two, and we probably won't be able to keep up with their honey production then. So things are moving forward with them. They're very healthy, very strong bees, and we're really excited about them. And those bug traps really do work. We took down what was looking like it was going to be a really big small hive beetle problem and taking it down into something that's just almost a joke. So we're really excited about that. Homestead Pilgrim says, have y'all thought about making a UPS or Amazon delivery box for deliveries at your homestead gate? So I think you're talking about like some kind of box we would put at the gate specifically for deliveries to be put into. No, we hadn't thought about that because right as it is right now, as I said earlier in the show, Jennifer's home almost all the time.
Yeah.
And so deliveries to the front door aren't a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If I misunderstood the question there, Homestead Pilgrim, I apologize. Rephrase it and I'll try again. Braden asked, how long does it take for the bees to produce honey? It doesn't take them very long at all. You just got to be in the flow. You got to have a lot of trees usually are the best source, at least in our area, and plants that are in nectar. So if the trees and plants are producing nectar, then you're in the flow, and that's when the bees are just steadily putting it away. We addressed the allergies. Let's see here.
That one's already been dealt with.
Okay. Silver Moon Acres wanted to know, where did we get the avocado from? We got that from the same place we got the Royal Empress. We got it from Fast Growing Trees. Now, look, before you go, I'm going to tell you they're expensive. Okay? Mm-hmm. Ridiculously expensive. We got them while they were on a sale, so we saved a little bit of money. But if you go try to find that cold, hardy avocado by that name anywhere else, you pay money for getting trees shipped into you.
Yes.
So there are other varieties. I know one of our local nurseries sells one they call a Joey avocado that's supposed to do okay in our climate. So I mean, just check it out and see what you can find. Either way, the tree costs about the same, but the one online is maybe a little bit more because they do free shipping, but really it's kind of just incorporated in the price. You know how that is. But Fast Growing Trees, fastgrowingtrees.com was the answer. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. We did get Amish at Heart. We did get the 5th black locust planted the day after that video was shot. It's back in the very center of the deer field. So I'm sure you've seen the deer field before. It's right in the center of that deer field, which is actually kind of the high point in that area. So we're hoping that it'll grow up and just kind of be like a feature in that area, and we'll see where it goes. And part of the reason is, one thing that the black locusts are known for is they have those seed pods that just dump all over the place. It's one of the reasons they're considered to be an invasive. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe those will be like a natural source of food. So we'll see whether or not it actually works that way. And then maybe with the nitrogen fixing that the black locust does do, maybe we can bring up the general health of that whole field.
Because it needs it.
Yeah. Did we order our trees from Ison's Nursery in Griffin, Georgia? I am not positive which nursery we bought it from in Georgia. I just remembered it was a nursery in Georgia. I will try to answer that question before time runs out, but no promises. Let me see. While I am researching that, let me see here. Did I try hormone with the blueberries? Northeast Camper asks. I did not use the rooting hormone on the blueberries. Just because they were in a big, like 3.5 gallon pot.
They were already well established.
Yeah. So I did not think that it was necessary there. And really, it was so. I would have to have soaked the root ball just to even get to the roots in order to do that. So no, I did not. Okay, so we ordered that from Willis Orchards in Georgia. Willis Orchards. 5 black locust trees. Let's see here.
Questions are coming out like popcorn tonight.
Yeah. What does bee pollen taste like? Does it taste like honey? We haven't tried it yet, but we have learned that you can store it in the freezer for extremely long periods of time. So we put that in the freezer because we don't know if we're going to harvest more pollen. We might just stockpile it until we decide to use it. So we haven't tried it yet. Jennifer probably never will. She might go into anaphylactic shock or something.
Who knows?
Can a county tell you that you cannot have bees? I am not familiar with any ordinances that say you cannot have bees in a county. That would be news to me, but I'm sure there are some municipalities, towns, and cities that forbid it. Freaky Geek asks, I don't think people are supposed to consume pollen, just the bees. I could be wrong. So yeah, I don't know. There's certainly
everything I've read said that it's perfectly fine to consume the pollen. In fact, it's very healthy, and people take them in capsules just so that they can avoid the taste.
Okay.
So it probably doesn't taste like honey.
Goldminer asks, have you seen the outdoor pizza ovens made from old steel bathtubs? No, I've only seen the ovens made out of earthen ovens, cob and such. Leanne asks, are you going to get red wigglers? I hear they are the fastest composters. No, we're going to go with the Eastern night crawlers, the bigger ones that are also good for fishing. So we don't need them to be super fast composters like the red wigglers. We're going to go with the dual purpose and get that middle ground where we could actually, they compost really well, but we could also use the worms for someplace else, and maybe even wholesale the worms to a local bait shop just down the road. Can you grow a tree from an avocado pit? You can, but there's a lot of question about whether or not it's going to be
true to seed.
Well, not just true to seed, but viable. Is it even going to ever flower?
Yeah.
So it might grow and look like an avocado tree, but will it ever even flower, let alone produce a avocado, and then how will that avocado taste? So
if you really want an avocado tree and you have avocados in the area, it's better to take a cutting.
All right, and our time is up. So last question from Kelly here. Will 2 fingerling potatoes cross-pollinate? Kelly, I have no clue. I don't know. I just don't know. I would suppose that they probably would, or otherwise, how do we get different varieties of potatoes? But I just don't know. Y'all, thank you so much for the show tonight. It was a true pleasure being back here live with you, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you all so much for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.